All right, welcome to the first lab. In this lab, we'll be setting up your web development environment and installing all the software and tools that we need for web development. So we'll go through installation of this code and um, publishing to GitHub, ngrok, and more. So let's get started. So first, go to VS Code if you don't have it. Visual Studio Code is the most popular text editor, code editor for the web. So go to visualstudio.com and then download it, and then install it. And then we will also be installing an extension called Live Server, right? So in Visual Studio Code, go to the extensions tab to the left, and then search for Live Server, and then install that extension, right? And then we'll be creating a web page. That web page will include one tag, each one for your name. You're gonna put it to create an index.html file. So let's go and open folder. So we need to create a folder in which we will save our index.html inside. So I'm gonna create a folder. And then once the folder created, we can create a file inside the folder. So trust this author. And then you can just click on new file, or click on the icon to the left on top of the folder, next to the folder name. So we're going to be using Emmet. So if you put an exclamation mark, you'll get this plugin that will do autocomplete for you. So change the title here. So basically exclamation mark and then you hit enter, and we will just add one simple h1 tag here. All right, so let's save this. So once this is saved, we can just open it up in the browser by looking at the path, like getting the path to this file. So copy path and then open a tab and then put it there. Right? So that is basically how you open this web page. Right? Obviously, we need this page to be served by a web server. That's why we installed a local web server called Live Server. To serve it, you basically need to look for the Go Live at the bottom of the screen. So this, you click on this, it will open it with Live Server. Click there, and then it will start a web server on port 5500. All right. So that's how you serve this web page locally on your own local web server. All right. So next, we need to deploy this page into GitHub Pages. So assume that you have Git installed. You can click on these links to install Git on Windows or Mac OS. So we'll be creating and publishing that page on GitHub Pages. So it's a very easy process to create a repo named cpit-405.1. So click on the plus sign on GitHub and then create this new repository, right? So once we create that, we need to enable GitHub Pages, right? So we're gonna upload that index.html page first. So you can use Git to push, or you can just click on the upload an existing file, right? So click on that and then upload that index.html page. So upload that document, add index.html, and then commit, and then go to the settings, right? So now we need to enable GitHub Pages. And to do that, we go to the settings and we click on Pages to the left side. And then once we click on Pages, we're going to make sure that deploy from a branch is selected, and then we select the main branch. It's the only branch we have. We click save and then give it some time because GitHub pages will open the page and then reload when it's done. All right, so just this may take a few minutes, and because GitHub will build this web page and it will should take some time. Right, so we'll come and visit this one when it's up and ready. So now it's ready and it gave me a URL to my web page. So if I click on that URL, I will see my web page hosted on GitHub pages. Right? That's pretty cool. That we can host static website easily. Right? Another option would be to use something like ngrok, right? Especially when we want to test something locally without deploying it into any server, right? So I'm running something local in my local web server. How do I share it, right? So let's go ahead to ngrok. This ngrok will do port channeling and will store that 5500 into a publicly accessible IP address on the internet, right? So let's sign up for an ngrok account, right? So we're gonna be signing up. Just click on sign up with GitHub. That's the easiest one. So the integration, I mean, you don't need to specify username and password. So let's install this. So if you're on Mac OS, you need to copy this command. Homebrew is the easiest way to install it. And that's if you are on Mac OS. But if you are, I mean, obviously this is running now on local port. We need to tunnel the port 5500 to a public one. So you can, on Mac, you just run this command in the terminal and then you run the following one to configure ngrok. If you are on Windows, you need to download the binary and then add it to your path, right? So if we are on Windows, this is my Windows 17. Click on sign up for free. And then sign up with GitHub. And then Windows already selected. We don't have Choco on this machine, so click on download and then just download the executable binary and then we'll add it to our path. Alright, so select download for Windows 64-bit. And then once that is downloaded, we need to unzip. Right? So let's go to that and then extract all. Here, select extract all, yeah, all, and then extract. Right? So now we have it. We can create a project under desktop. So I'll repeat the steps that I just did on my Mac because this is a new virtual machine. So create the index.html. And then I'm going to hit that exclamation mark or emit to generate HTML. And then enter. And then add title. And then just add a header under the body. Right? So let's save this and then run it in the local web server. So look for live server, and then we need to install live server on this virtual machine. Right, already installed. So click on go live. And just give it some time to open. Yes, now it's running on my local web server, localhost 5500. So before we use ngrok, we need to add it to our path. So search for environment variables, click on environment variables, and then select path, and then edit, and then new, and then browse. Right? So I need to tell my environment, my computer, where the ngrok command is. Right? So I install it under download. I need to be moving that to program files so I don't accidentally delete it. So I'm gonna open the Windows Explorer, File Explorer, and then go to downloads, and then I'm going to be moving this extracted folder that contains ngrok. I'm just gonna move it to the C program file so I don't accidentally delete it. Right, telling me it's being used, so I need to quit this terminal when I opened it, and then continue. All right, so we moved it under C program files. Now I need to go back to the environment variables and add C program files ngrok folder to the path. Program files, and then now it knows where that ngrok command is in. Right, so save everything, hit OK. Now open a new terminal. So I'm gonna open PowerShell, and then I need to go to the folder where I saved my project. You don't have to go there. I mean, you can run the command. It will forward the port. Not necessary to go there. So the port is 5500, and we need to tell ngrok that this port needs to be forwarded to the public internet. The ngrok.exe, the protocol is HTTP, and the local port is 5500, right? Before that, we need to tell and authenticate, tell ngrok who we are and authenticate with ngrok. So be sure to run this command in ngrok dashboard to configure ngrok and authenticate with ngrok locally. So run the config command, add and set the token, and then you can use ngrok, right? So we type ngrok and then space HTTP and then space 5500, right? So give us some time. And now we get the forwarding URL, right? So if I copy that URL and then put it in my web browser, I will be able to see it. If I try to open that address from my Mac or from another version, another machine, or even my phone, I'll be able to access that website, right? That was running locally on my machine. So I'm gonna try to type it in here in my Mac. Type the URL. In your case, you need to type this in your phone and then take a screenshot of that. So now it's running, right? So we did the port forwarding on using ngrok, right? So the last step is to install this Postman. It's a very popular API client, and that makes it very easy for testing and working with API, right? RESTful API. So be sure to go to postman.com and then download Postman. So look for downloads link. It is right here. And then download the binary for your operating system, right? Windows, download the one for Windows 64. Right? So now I downloaded it and then I installed it, and I need to test the HTTP bin API. So I'll go here, copy this link, and send an HTTP GET request. All right, so http://bin.org/get, and we got the response to 100, and we can even inspect the response. We can even inspect the response headers and see all the information that we got when we hit that API endpoint, right? I'm going to open another tab and send an HTTP post, and I can add more data and post more data to that endpoint. So be sure to select post as the method, put the URL, and you can click on body and then click on form data, for instance, and you can send form data and post it to that endpoint, right? You can post anything. This API endpoint is only for testing, so everything we put here will be sent back to us. So I select language and ID, and I send it. I got 200, and we got the data back to us, the form data that we posted, right? So that's how you set up your development environment and the tools that you need for this course. And that was all about the first lab. Thank you.